What is Dandadan and why should you watch it? Because it's special and it's unique. If you're one of the people that is tired of all of the negativity and grifting online and needs something upbeat, Jesus Christ, show us some color, Dandadan is a perfect fit for you because it's special and it's unique. Dandadan is more of a light-hearted adventure that, instead of putting a dark twist on something, goes out of its way to put a more positive and fun twist. Now, to me, this is massive because it's not just another dark shonen like Jujutsu Kaisen, because it's special and it's unique. They forgo the pessimism in favor of a much more optimistic tone, which to me is actually much more realistic to reality itself than just another beat you down in the mud with pessimism kind of thing, because it's special and it's unique. It also allows you to get your hopes up without being dragged down into the mud to subvert your expectations like we've all been beaten into the ground with. No, none of that. Instead, you're allowed to be joyful and see our heroes pull through in unique and fun ways, because it's special and it's unique. The upbeat tone forced Yorinobu Tatsu to add stakes to the series in ways that the typical dark shonen probably doesn't. After all, if our story is going to be more lighthearted, you need an alternate method to raise tensions and stakes than just, killing off people or something, because it's special and it's unique.
First positive. Having a typical plot about a hot popular girl falling in love with a dork is fun and not a power fantasy. And the reason for that is because whatever misunderstandings they have don't drag and all conflicts are solved right away. And that's why it's not a power fantasy, because the dork that makes the hot popular girl to fall for him right away is totally not a power fantasy. Yup, you sure make sense there. He then defends the show by saying there is no fan service. There is a G-MILF, a rape scene, hot babes falling for a complete dork just because, and none of that counts as fan service. This is what the fans of the show say, and that is their consensus. Nothing but lies. First negative. Dandadan is the flavor of the month, just like Kaiju number 8 was before it. That is correct. Nobody will remember this show in a couple of seasons. Remember the Tower of God being the beginning of a new age? It had a gazillion things in it and now nobody cares. As you see, the reviewer describes how it's a lazily written power fantasy. Even the so-called masterpiece that was episode 7 had less emotional moments than your average Demon Slayer episode about some monster dying. How can a simple show like Dandadan be remembered for anything? What, because the animation is good? What doesn't have good animation these days? Thus the consensus is, it's just a flavor of the month. End of discussion. Second positive. He describes with a lot of words how dumb and over-sexualized the show is, and that somehow makes it amazing. When it doesn't, the exact same text can be used for any sex comedy out there, and none of them are amazing despite having the weirdest premises. Therefore, the consensus for the fans is that it's amazing for doing absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Second negative. He describes the show with the exact same logic as the previous guy, only he is negative because he speaks the truth. It's just another sex comedy, there is nothing special about it. Experienced viewers will easily see the flaws in it, which is true since I am an experienced viewer and I also see nothing special in it. Once again, the consensus confirms that it's the flavor of the month. Third positive. He admits the show is just pretty colors, there is nothing special about it. If you raise your standards, you will immediately realize it's just the flavor of the month. Third negative. The show treats all its nasty sexualization as a joke and never tries to have commentary or to even criticize the nasty tropes. It is not a smart satire, it is just a typical horny show for horny teens. Fourth positive. The show is not sexualized because it's not a hentai. And we all know if it doesn't show sex and treats rape as a joke, it doesn't count as ecchi or fan service. Not. This is what the fans of the show say to reflect criticism. By the way, his profile picture, yeah, that's a pedophile. He's just another guy who likes Mushoku Tensei because it's totally not perverted. It's a redemption story. Totally trust this guy, guys. Fourth negative. It could have been a great show if it wasn't ruined by fan service and had a decent plot. Correct. Fifth positive, Dandadan is unique because there has never been another anime that blends shonen action with shoujo rom-com. No sir, there has never been such an anime before. This is what the fans of the show say to fool themselves into thinking they are special. And now the fifth negative, which sums up the entire thing and mirrors my opinion of it, so I'm just gonna read it to you. Dandadan is a product. It is fast food entertainment. People try to sell it for bigger than it is. There is nothing deep about Dandadan. The storyline is predictable. The characters are shallow. It is like a Marvel movie. Nothing wrong with that. I like some Marvel movies, but when I watch them, I know they are garbage. Dandadan is a guilty pleasure show carried by animation. It will only impress teenagers. Adults can enjoy it too, but as a popcorn time waster. And that is all there is about the consensus.
Dandadan is the perfect romance.
The romance that got Dandadan started is actually hurting its characters.
This romance hooks everyone who gives Dandadan a chance.
While I boldly praised Dandadan's romance before, now I almost wish it would go away.
The best romantic relationships in modern manga.
Now it's just getting in the way of the characters.
Dandadan is very much about romance.
Whereas romantic rivalry was an interesting source of tension in early Dandadan, now it's making some of its characters redundant.
Dandadan has the perfect romance.
The problem there is that the romance between Okarun and Momo is the driving force of the story. So if you take that away, then you're left with nothing.